So again, my name is Itani. I have been into the training/education space for the last 8 years. I'm a lecturer at the American University of Beirut. I teach at the Faculty of Engineering and Architecture. And my field basically is engineering management. So it really combines between both engineering and management, which I believe is the best of both worlds. And I teach entrepreneurship courses, engineering management, engineering ethics, and I occasionally teach at the business school as well. Almost 2 years ago, I decided to start my own company, which is in the same space. So it's also in education and training. And what we do is basically we provide mainly youth with social innovation programs where they believe and they actually implement solutions to real social problems. For example, in the summer, we implemented our first summer youth innovation program in partnership with Touch Lebanon, where we took the waste problem theme in Lebanon and we ideated with around 30 teenagers, and each one of them came up with a different idea, and the goal was to create a mobile application to attempt to alleviate part of the waste problem in Lebanon. So we taught them how to design an app, how to code the app, and how to think in an entrepreneurial mindset, how to think of different business components, and to finally pitch it in front of judges from the entrepreneurship ecosystem. So it was very much like a competition, if you like, but the participants were young. So, all right, today, as I told you, we're going to be talking about the design thinking process, and this is a very creative, very iterative process. This is why we have a lot of stuff going on. I'm doing this as part of my the workshops which we do as part of my startup company, which is called Riyada for Social Innovation. Riyada is Arabic for entrepreneurship. It's not sports. Okay, so it's that, not the. All right. Don't look at the years. I have around 4 years of telecom multinational experience, Nokia networks and such. I work in Dubai and in Beirut. My academic experience spans 8 years now. I have been heavily involved in the community since 2015. I am really passionate about women empowerment initiatives, especially women in technology, women in computing, women in engineering. And you find me all over that place. So I'm the chair of IEEE Women in Engineering, co-chair Arab Women in Computing, co-founder of Girls Got IT, and Global Compact Network Lebanon ambassador. I'm finalizing my PhD degree, and this is my email if you'd like to reach me. Alright, so a little bit about our company. As I told you, we want to transform the youth into social innovators. So based on my community engagement, based on my academic experience, I realized that all the entrepreneurship initiatives in Lebanon still do not target the youth, the very young youth. So I'm نحكي school age, high school age. And there's no linkage between social problems and entrepreneurship. This year it has been emerging more, like we have been seeing it more often. So we want to transform the youth into social innovators and change makers through innovative training programs. This is like the ultimate goal. But as you know, as you've been hearing, like you have to be sustainable, you have to, make revenues and income. So this is really not very sustainable by itself. This is why we have to do other things as well. Our programs stand on 3 pillars. So we do entrepreneurship training, but that's not only it. We have technology training, so we train the youth on how to create an app, how to do hardware, how to do different kinds of software, gaming, for example, virtual reality, etc. And all of our programs, they are basically, they have a social purpose. So we want to solve a social problem in them. And as I told you, our summer program was one of our success stories. So this is like just a snapshot from our website, riyadainnovation.com. We also do corporate training, which is, of course, this is what keeps business sustainable. And there's a lot of demand on entrepreneurship/innovation training, especially in the technology sector. We do corporate consulting as well, especially for social entrepreneurs. We do schools and university programs based on demand, and a lot of partnership programs. And what's very interesting is that we're building the first online social innovation education platform in the Arab world, and we're calling it Shabab Lab. So this is under development now. I'm going to talk more about this workshops, and this is sort of a disclaimer. Like, I don't mind, or actually, I don't mind at all if some of you don't want to stay in this workshop. So this is not a lecture style. It's going to be very hands-on, so you will get your hands dirty, literally. Your hands will be dirty at the end. But it will be fun. Okay, so if you want to stay, of course, you're welcome. So it will be a lot of fun. I'm not going to do a lot of talking. You're going to be doing a lot of things. So I'm just going to be facilitating this. I'm not going to be lecturing you over. You're going to be working in teams of 2. So you have to be seated in that way. Alright? So you need to work. I don't know if you can do it standing. You have to manage. Okay, so you'll learn by doing rather than by listening to me, as I told you. You cannot change partners. So you have to stick to the same person throughout, or it won't work. This is a rigid thing, I know. It's not a flexible workshop, but this is how it works. Like, this has been designed by Standford, not by me. I'm just implementing and facilitating. So you have to work with the same person all over. You have to stay until the end also, or otherwise you're not gonna understand the whole design thinking process if you leave in the middle. So you have to commit to stay until the end. No one can join the room after we have started the exercise. So also because if they get in the middle, they've lost the first part, they can't continue. You have to start from the beginning. And yeah, please follow the instructions and respect the bell. I have a bell which I will use because there's timed exercises. So we have to stop when the bell rings, basically, like school style. So feel free to change. Yes. Thank you for coming. By the way, we will distribute the handouts. However, I just have 35. They told me there will be 30 in the workshop, so I printed 5 extras. But for those who want to stay and will not have handouts, I will have the same, text on the screen, but you need pieces of paper, basically. This is all you need. All right, so just use the notebooks which you have on the tables. All right, so make sure everybody who wants to leave will leave now. Alright, so please, for those who are sitting on the tables of threes, the third person, you should make sure that you have a partner. It doesn't work in three. It has to be 2 only. Okay, it has to be 2 or it doesn't work. So either some of the others can join you on the table, or you can join them on the floor, or you can. Get their hands dirty and you just want to watch, that's fine too. Okay? Can you clarify about? Hey, I will. I'm just waiting for those who want to leave, just to leave. You're gonna be creating a product and prototyping it. This is the aim of the design thinking process. Okay? By following the steps that we will explain. Alright? Alright, anybody else wants to leave? Now's your time. Or you're stuck. This won't take long, actually. told you, I've been teaching for the last 8 years. And I've been doing a lot of research on education, actually. Something wrong. Okay, so can anybody tell me why a hands-on workshop is better than, lecture-style one? Tell me, I will forget. Show me, I may remember. Engage me, or let me do it, and I'll never forget it. Exactly. So when you do something with your own hands, it will stick to your mind, basically. You never forget it again. So this is why in the 21st century, even at schools and then at universities, we are really emphasizing on the hands-on components, because as you know, people have very little attention spans nowadays. Like everybody is so busy with their phones. So how do we make them really grasp concepts and not forget them? Okay, it has to be very hands-on. This is why. So our brains evolved to learn by doing things, not by hearing about them. And a good example is you don't learn to walk by following rules. You learn by doing and by falling over. So this is why this is a hands-on thing. All right, let's start. So what's design thinking?
It's an approach.
Yeah, okay, it's an approach. What for?
Service design.
Service design, okay. Designing anything, okay.
Problem solving.
Problem solving, okay.
Meeting the user, or I don't know, the person meeting the other end of the person.
Okay. Alright, so what's a little bit different about this approach? It's not just problem solving, or it's very much what we call a human-centered design approach. So the human, who is most probably the user, right? The end customer, the user of my product, my service, my solution, is the human, and I need to understand that human to know whether what I'm designing is good or not. So this is like the idea behind this. Of course, if you think about it, this doesn't necessarily apply only to entrepreneurship, right? Think about big companies which keep on developing new products. This will work very well with them, right? Because they want to understand, like, what do these people need? What are the problems that they are really facing? And if they create something, they want to see, like, is this really what they want? Will this really solve their problem? So this is the design thinking process. But why do you think, like, we're doing it here at an entrepreneurship conference? How does it relate to entrepreneurship?
Because you need to understand what the end consumer needs and feels in order to create something that eventually sells.
Exactly. Yes. Anything else?
Like we are starting from scratch, we are building new products, new features. So like build the best product ever, but if the customer doesn't want it.
Right. Definitely. Okay, so this is extremely helpful for entrepreneurs, especially if they're at like the early stages or they are developing new products. All right. So this will enable you. I'm sure you've heard like validate, the term validate, right? A lot. The term pivot, right? You've heard it a lot. And this will allow you to actually validate throughout, and it will tell you how to pivot this process. So it is not the lean startup method, it's different, but it has some similarities, and it actually works very well with the lean startup method, which tell you it's all about validation and pivoting. And this will enable you to validate and pivot often if you keep on doing it. Alright, so this is the process that we are going to actually execute today, okay? So it is actually 5 different phases. The first one is empathize. Empathize with who? Yes, the person who I'm designing this thing for, okay? It's very rare that I design something just for myself. And you're going to see this in the exercise. It's rare. Sometimes you do it, but you do not commercialize a product for yourself, right? Then you define what? The problem. The problem. We always start with the problem, by the way. Like, this is like number 1. Problem. What's the problem? Do I know what's the problem? Many times we think we do, but we don't. So we have to check that. With who? with the customer, right? And then we ideate. What does ideate mean? Come up with different solutions. Yes, come up with different solutions. And of course, you're gonna here also check with the customer. And then you will actually build a prototype. Okay? And are you done? No. Of course, you have to keep testing. Okay. Alright, so this is what we're gonna do. I just need some volunteer to help me.
I'm here.
Yes.
So one thing.
So each one of you needs one of these. If you don't get one, you're gonna see them here and just use your paper to do it.
Just as for them to see.
Yes. Now each one of you needs one. And it's best if you could use pencils. If you don't have, I have in my white box. Pencils because they make you sketch and erase if you like.
I need to please share.
Okay, so again, make sure you have a partner. You have to work with one person only. And make sure you follow all the steps. And please respect the time. If you need pencils, I have some here, okay? Alright, are you ready? It's supposed to be one for one. So, like, you cannot both do it on the same paper. One of you would do it on the paper, the other does it on their, the hotel thing, the notepad. Hey, but guys, you have to know that each one needs at least one paper, not of these, but a paper, because you cannot write both of you on the same one, because you're designing two different things. هلا حنشوف, okay? It's not like one product. Each one of you is designing his own product. Alright? كله صار عنده أوراق أو at least the notebook of the hotel where you can use, okay? Each one has one of them. Okay, great. Step number one. Alright, so guys, you have to listen to me, alright? Some of these steps will be individual, meaning you have to do it on your own. Some of them will involve interaction with the partner. So it's very important that you actually follow the instructions. So when it's individual, it's individual. You don't talk to the partner. When it's interaction, you should talk to them. You cannot just do it on your own. Okay, so please follow the instructions for maximum benefits, basically. So this part is individual. Alright, so no talking to the other person. Your challenge in this exercise is to create the best wallet. The ideal wallet. You know what's a wallet, right? Portemonnaie, جزدان, محفظة. I don't know what you want to call it. Okay? Wallet. Okay, so first, you, based on your own experiences, on your own preferences, I want you to design the ideal wallet on your own, and you only have 3 minutes for that. Okay, please start. Yeah. No talking. This is individual. 3 minutes. When the time is done, I'll ring the bell, we move to the next step. So again, it's based on you, not on the other person. Yeah, if others like it, you can commercialize it, but because they really want that thing. But if it's only you who want it and no one else wants it, then it's not commercial, it cannot be commercialized, basically.
Maybe our needs are the same.
Maybe, but not necessarily, right? So we have to double check that. Okay, how do we do it?
I once heard that every product has its
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah. I mean, some products don't have customers in this era, for example. They will not work. They will fail because the time has not come. People don't understand this yet. People don't need it yet. But hopefully, somebody somewhere wants this thing. But that's a big challenge to find them, right? So why don't we start the other way around? Know what people want and build it instead of building something that I don't know who wants it and search for that person, right? Okay. So this is what we're gonna do. So now, it's not individual anymore. You have to actually dig into the other person, your partner. You have to start talking to them. And the best way to do that is to do an interview, right? You go and talk to people and ask them what you like, what you don't like. And here again, remember, the first step is empathy. What? You know what's empathy? Put yourself in other people's shoes. It's different from what we call sympathy. Sympathy is like, oh, I understand, but you don't really understand. It's just like you feel sad or pity or whatever. So when you empathize, you feel what the other person feels. I'll give you an example. For example, when somebody's designing a product for hospital patients, the best way to empathize is to actually, you go and sleep. No, don't interview. Sleep in the hospital. Be the patient. And you're gonna feel what they feel, understand what the problems are, etc. So you actually play the role fully, 100% you play it. Okay, so I don't know how much you can play it now, but you're gonna at least try to understand the other person by interviewing them. So the first step here is you're gonna be interviewing your partner for 4 minutes only, and after I ring the bell, you will switch. Okay, so you talk to her, understand how does she use her wallet, and by the way, the best way to do it is to make her show you the wallet, her wallet. Like, I want wallets on the desk. How does she use her wallet? Some girls use them for jewelry, but wallets are not designed for that. So maybe that's something you should take into consideration. Others only use them for cards, credit cards, for example. I don't know. So how does your partner use his or her wallet? They have to show you, and that would be the first interview. Okay? So can we start? 4 minutes? The wallet. And in order to understand better, 4 minutes, we switch to another 4. Okay? 4 minutes, first partner. Alright, so the purpose behind the first interview is to get to know the partner better, okay, and to get to know the surface of things, alright? But again, we are trying to identify certain needs, certain problems. So maybe you're gonna find out that the problem really doesn't lie in the wallet. It could be something else. So this, although it's called the wallet challenge, it shouldn't be limiting. Okay, if you find another problem, which is very obvious, you should work on that problem and find a solution instead. Okay, but the wallet will start the conversation going. Alright, so after you have looked into the components of the wallet and they have told you some things about themselves, now you have to dig deeper. Because no matter what you have asked them, you still don't know them as if they are yourself, right? So empathy is really to put yourself in the other person's shoes. You have to do more in order to understand. So maybe ask them personal questions, ask them more about their life, maybe if they want to share a story. And you have to really try to get insights out of this and try to start shaping a certain problem which you want to solve. Okay? So this is now the aim of the second interview. which is called Dig Deeper. Okay? Again, this is very short.
It has nothing to do with the wallet, right? Anymore?
No, it could still be the wallet, but if it was apparent that there's nothing wrong with the wallet, he just loves the wallet he has, and maybe there should be something else that he needs or he wants. So you have to dig deeper and try to find the problem. Okay, it might not be in the wallet. If it's in the wallet, that's great. That makes things easier, actually. But it doesn't have to be. All right? So now you have to dig deeper. Now it's only 3 minutes per interview. So 3 minutes, then you switch. Okay? Yeah, that goes. You have to switch now. Switch another 3 minutes. Alright, so now the time is up for understanding the other person. Of course, in real life you have more time. Okay, but for the workshop you don't. So now it's time to reflect on these two interviews. So you did a first one, like the primary one, and then a deeper one. Okay, now on your own, individually, you have to reflect on this interview and you have to capture findings. Okay, so this is step number 3. If you don't have it, please write it on your own paper. So you have to say what are the goals and wishes of your partner, who is your customer, right? He's gonna be the one, he or she are the one who are gonna use the product you are gonna create. Okay, so what is your partner trying to achieve? What's their goals, wishes, wants, needs? Okay? So again, it could be the wallet, it could be something slightly different, it could be something completely different. Depends on the interviews that you did. I don't know what happened. لا كل واحد 3 minutes. Okay, you don't talk here. It's only you. You're gonna capture the findings, okay, based on the interviews. It's only you do for her, she does for you. Okay, and you have to say what new things you learned about this person. Okay? So what's something you see about your partner's experience that maybe he or she doesn't see? So here you're trying to be smart. Alright? 3 minutes. Alright, so what are you trying to do here? Can anybody tell me? Analyze. You're analyzing. What else?
Trying to critique the findings to see what the best, for thinking of the wallet, to see what, يعني grosso modo كيف شكل الwallet that fits her personality best.
Are you thinking now of solutions? You shouldn't be, by the way.
That's how it works.
You shouldn't be now thinking of solutions. Now we're thinking of what?
Finding things.
Yes, the requirements or the wants, the needs, the problem. Now we're trying to define the problem, exactly. And this is how things should work. I know they don't always work that way, but that's wrong. We don't think of solutions before we know what the problem is. So here you're trying to actually define the problem. And to do that, you have number 4, where you're gonna write the problem very clearly. Okay, so it's very clear here. First of all, you put the name of the person. So what is her name? Or maybe you can describe him as like the picky eater, I don't know, Miss Fashionista, whatever. Okay. Needs a way to do what? What are they trying to achieve? Again, based on your reflection, on your analysis. Because what? Why? What's the reason? This is something you have discovered in the interviews, all right? An insight you've done when you dig deeper in the person. All right, another 3 minutes. So now you are defining the problem. This is your problem statement.
Again, it has to do with the wallet or not? Because what?
It depends on the interview, really. It's good, it's up to you, right? It's based on what's the problem. Yalla, 3 minutes. No talking yet, okay? You're gonna share later. You will have the time to share your findings. If the problem lies in the wallet, yes. If not, not. Only you know what happened in the interviews. So this problem statement is very important because it will shape your solution. So make sure it's right. Not yet. That's the problem. Okay guys, if you felt there was no problem, then you needed more time to dig. Okay, and that's okay. Alright, but there's always a problem somewhere. There's always something that could be done in a better way. Alright guys. So again, this really shapes the solution that you're doing, and here is where the ideation comes. Of course, typically you may want to go and validate the problem, but this is not listed in these steps. Again, this is designed by Standford d.school. I'm not the one who designed the workshop, I just run it. So here what you're gonna be doing again on your own, you are gonna base on your problem statement, and it's best if you could repeat it here. But rewrite the problem statement from the earlier page, here, on this line, and come up with 5 different solutions. In real life, we should come up with much more than 5. Okay, we should think of many different solutions. Why? Do you know why? أكيد ما كانوا راح يثبتوا. Yes, and we say quantity leads to quality. So if we have 100 options, there should be like one of them which is good. If there's only two options, maybe none is good, okay? So quantity leads to quality. So although we always say quality is more important than quantity, but quantity is what leads in this case, right? In design. Okay, so again guys, on your own, and the next step will be the sharing. So just wait a little bit. Okay, here you're gonna design 5 different solutions to your users' needs based on the problem. Okay? So 5 minutes, 5 designs. Sketch, write, label, do whatever you like. Okay? 5 minutes. Designs. 2, 5. Who could do more than 5? Great. Who could do 3? 3 or more, maybe. Yeah, meaning. Okay. So the ultimate goal is to have as many solutions as possible. All right. So again, let's review what we've done so far. Yes.
While writing the solutions, we knew that some of them are much better.
Okay. Maybe, yeah, it's okay. But by the way, like one of the ideation techniques, we call this what we call the bad idea excursion. Like sometimes when you like say, okay, that's like the worst idea possible, but it will help you come up with the best idea. Okay, so don't say like, no, I'm not gonna look into that because it's very bad. Because even that would be useful, all right? So, what have we done so far? First of all, what did you do?
We got to know the...
Yes, we empathize, right? Okay, so you talk to each other, you shared experiences. Okay, then what did you do? You defined the problem, exactly. And now what did you do just now? You came up with different solutions based on that problem. Okay, so now it's time to validate. Alright, you have to make sure that you got the problem right and that at least one of these solutions make sense. Okay? Yes. So now you're gonna be sharing your solutions and capturing feedback from the partner. 5 minutes each. Okay, so 5 minutes, you show all the designs and they will give you feedback, and after 5 minutes we will switch. Alright? 5 minutes. got feedback, you had also the opportunity to share the problem, and maybe if you had something wrong with that, right? Now it should be better. Okay? Was it beneficial? Okay. So now it's iteration time. You know what's an iteration? Okay. So yes, we have to change something because you cannot get things right from the first time. This is humanity. This is life. Okay. So what you're gonna be doing for the next 3 minutes is to actually reflect on the feedback of your partner and generate a new solution. All right, and that will be the solution that you will be prototyping. Okay, so 3 minutes. Okay, this is individual, right? So you're gonna now design the ultimate solution that you found. So far, empathize, define, ideate. You validated your ideation process. Now it's time to actually do number 4, which was, do you remember? Prototype. Okay, so now you're gonna actually, you have the chance if you want to, build, okay, the solution that you just sketched. And that's why I have all of these material here. I have scissors, cutters, please be careful with these, glue, threads, different kinds of cardboards. Okay, and you have only 7 minutes to do that. Okay, so this is a prototype. Again, this is not the product. And by the way, this is very commonly used. Even if I'm creating like something very technically sophisticated, when I do a prototype, we call it a paper prototype. I just throw something and make people interact with it. So this is the goal now. Just create something small, something simple, which the other user could actually interact with. All right, you have to come here, and I'm going to give you 8 minutes.
No worries.
That's fine, because we need to wrap up. Okay, so you did now the prototype. Okay, again, this is to build something simple for the user to interact with. Okay, so what's the last step in your opinion? Testing. Okay, exactly. So, based on what you have in hand, you need to actually seek the feedback of the user, of the person who you designed this for. Okay? And see how it could be improved. Okay, so there are 4 things you have to look for. What are the features that actually worked? Okay, so what's something that they really like and that really serve a need for them? What's something that could be improved? Okay, we don't say it didn't work, we say it could be improved. Okay? Do they have any questions? Like maybe they could ask you, can we add a button here? Can we add a chip here? Can we make it like connected to an app? Okay, questions? And any ideas that you get from this conversation again. Okay, even if they don't tell you specifically we can add this or that, you can actually come up with some ideas based on this communication. Okay, so 4 minutes. Share the prototype with the other person, and get their feedback, and then you switch for another 4 minutes, and then we'll end. Alright? Yalla, 4 minutes. Okay, so again, you always start the process of designing any product, any service even, with first of all doing what? Empathizing with who? The client, okay, the end user, okay, the person who's ultimately gonna use this thing, okay? And then, based on this empathy, we define a certain problem. Who of you found a problem different than the wallet problem? Anybody?
I did, but
Okay, but I've done this before many times. The problem wasn't really the wallet problem, which is perfectly fine, okay? Because ultimately you want to design something that fits, okay, with that person, regardless of your first premises. You should change if you found something else. You shouldn't stick to your stuff, okay? You should be flexible and you should adapt. Okay, so then you define the problem, alright? And after you define the problem, you come up with different solutions. This is what we call Ideate, so come up with different ideas. And then what did we do before you prototyped it? What did you do? Yes, you got the feedback, you shared it, you validated your problem and your solutions, okay? And then you prototyped it. After you actually prototyped the solution, what did you do? You tested it. Based on the testing, you do an iteration. So, and after ideation, you did an iteration, you prototype, and after prototyping, you do more iterations until you do what? Until you find that the customer is actually satisfied, and only then do you move beyond the prototyping phase. So the prototyping is an iterative process where you're gonna be generating a lot of different prototypes to make sure, okay, this is the best one. Then you go to manufacturing, let's say. Alright, so then and only then, of course now you did it on only one person. In real life, you barely create a product for one person. You create a product for a group of people, right? Yeah, segmentation. You segment the market, you know which people you want to have this for, and you go to them. You empathize, you do a lot of interviews, you do role playing, you do different kinds of techniques. And by the way, the handouts which I gave you should explain more to you about the process. So, do you now know what's the design thinking process? Yes, sure. The feasibility test? Okay guys, when you actually are testing your problem, and if they told you this is not the problem, then this is a feasibility test. The technical feasibility. Yeah. Okay guys, you check technical feasibility with experts basically. With technical experts. They will tell you if this could be done or it couldn't be done. Yeah, of course. Yes. Because you cannot, if you prototyped it based on certain assumptions but they're not feasible, then you're promising something and you cannot make it. You don't want to promise something which is not attainable, right? So you always check the feasibility before the prototyping. Alright? All's well? Alright, so please, the handouts should be with you now. There's my business card attached to each one of them. If you need anything, just drop me an email and I'll be more than happy to help you. Alright, thank you so much.